Hi, this is Kevin Price talking to you about you and your business on today's show. We got a lot to talk about. You have heard, of course, of J.D. Power and the power of endorsement. We've seen it now for, I guess, decades. We've been seeing J.D. Power endorsements on particularly automobiles, but they cover much more than that over the last several years. I'm delighted to be able to get Dave Power on to talk about a book that he has, Dave Power Book. We're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as a whole story of J.D. Power. The book is called, I think the book is actually called Power. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Welcome to the program, David.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the story of J.D. Power.
Well, we started on the kitchen table.
The best ideas do.
Well, I decided to start my own business, and she said, okay. We had together 3 children and a 4th one on the way, and she said she'd help me out. And that's where we started, on the kitchen table. And the kids would do the child labor to send out the questionnaires, fold them and put a incentive, a quarter, with a face up, and send out the questionnaires. And it was the consumers that really helped us get off the ground, because they answered the questionnaires. In those days, for a quarter incentive, we used to get around a 40% response rate. And that was unheard of.
Yeah, well, that kind of shows you how pent up the desire to share that information was. Yes,
and we would get 10% of them sending in additional information, so it helped us improve the questionnaire the next time we sent it out.
Yep. This was 1968. Where were you when you decided to do this?
In California, Southern California. I left Detroit to get out of the automobile business, believe it or not.
No, I believe it. I really do. And in fact, you were kind of prophetic leaving in the late 60s. Most people didn't figure that out until the late 70s. And so I'm from Michigan originally. I grew up in Ferndale.
Oh, great. I lived in Birmingham most of the time, and then Royal Oak.
Yeah, of course, I was literally across the street from Royal Oak. I would ride my bike to Main Street, in Royal Oak growing up. I remember doing that. So I thought I heard a little bit of a Midwestern Michigan accent there. So what made you...
Well,
go ahead.
Actually, I started in Massachusetts. I'm a New Englander.
Okay. Well, you spent a lot of time, obviously, in the Midwest because you don't have that much of a New England twang to you. Let me ask you, when you look at what compels you? Because as you point out at your website, DavePowerBook.com, there really wasn't a whole lot of interest in this area, at least from an industry perspective, to get the consumer opinion. What made you think that there may be something there?
Well, I was working first with Ford Motor Company, and then over to Buick Division at General Motors. And the research that we were doing was just designed to tell the top management what they wanted to hear. And the facts were not getting up to the top management. And that's why I left Detroit and ended up starting my own company, and Toyota was our first client. And the Japanese car companies in Southern California, headquartered there, were the ones that were most interested in what we had to feed back to them.
Yeah, and the Japanese have always been very cutting edge when it comes to understanding what consumers want. And back then, in the 70s in particular, I'm assuming this is probably the late 60s or early 70s that you're talking about, Japanese cars were pretty handedly dismissed by the automobile industry here, if I recall correctly.
Yes, and our studies, we own the data. We did a lot of proprietary research, but most of the success that we had is when we did independent studies on our own, and so the results to any of the manufacturers that wanted to buy it. And in Detroit, they felt that we were barking up the wrong tree. And so we just kept at it, and eventually we had every car company in the U.S. market subscribing to our studies.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, of course, you're known primarily, and you got started primarily in the automobile area, but I think you've branched off into other areas over time, haven't you?
Oh, yes. We had various industries coming to us, home builders, real estate people. We had unbelievable interest, airlines, hotels. And so they came to us and asked us if we'd do that type of a survey. And we said we would do it, but we had to do it across the whole industry in order to get the rankings. And we would pay for it, and we would sell them the report at a price that they couldn't refuse. And as a result, we found that the consumers were so much interested in improving their ability to talk to the manufacturers or the service industries that we saw it grow faster than we could keep up with.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I'm at jdpower.com. If you look under consumer ratings and awards, you can literally see all the various industries, electronics, energy, finance, healthcare, etc., that you guys are involved in. And so if individuals want to know more, they can go to jdpower.com. Meanwhile, if you want to learn about the book, what does the book address? Give us a really quick elevator speech to wrap it up. What does Power talk about, JD?
Well, we wanted to thank the customers and feedback to them how they helped us transform the automobile manufacturers to build better automobiles. And today, buyers are now in charge. The consumers are in charge. Manufacturers are listening more than ever, and consumers are still raising their expectations.
Yeah.
Back in '68, their expectations were the engine and the transmission. That is no longer a question in their minds.
Yeah.
It's all the other things that are going on. So it's a ever-increasing expectations on the part of consumers, and they get the information and use it. And so the manufacturers have to listen to it, and that's what's the great thing about this country. And there's not many other countries that we are able to do it as
thoroughly. Refined
as possible.
David, I got to wrap it up. David Power, he is the author of the book Power, and plus very well known for the J.D. Power Award. And by the way, not only are we both have Michigan backgrounds to a certain extent, with a name like Price, what better than doing a radio show called The Price of Business? With a name like Power, what better than creating an award on showing the power of consumers? So we have a lot in common, my friend. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Enjoyed it very much. DavePowerBook.com. That's singular. DavePowerBook.com. When we come back, much more for you right here on The Price of Business.